G'day, guys, and welcome to the show. Sorry for the late start, but we have had a bit of a problem with the computers here. But it's all fixed now, so hopefully it's fixed. So, very, very sorry for the late start. So, it's good to see all you guys here again. Sorry, it's been a few weeks as well since the last stream, but life has been extremely busy. So, we've got a bit of a sad show tonight. It's a very upsetting what has happened this week here in Queensland. It's not good at all for everybody in the shooting community and the police force. It's just very sad news. So we'll talk about that because we've had so many messages and emails from people, and it's just not good whatsoever. And we've got a bit of other news in the shooting industry as well that has happened this week. So before we start, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up and share it as well. So I shall bring in Jason as well. Good evening, Jason.
What's been happening? How you been?
Yeah, busy. End of year rush for work. I finish work tomorrow and have 3 to 4 weeks off. The first real holidays I've had in years.
Yeah, I know. It's been interesting. I can't believe how quick this year's gone. Hey, it's just absolutely crazy how this year's gone. But it's another year older. Everyone's sitting in the streams another year older. And it's a lot of things going on. We've had the Victorian election. What else we had? We had the issue that we're going to talk about tonight as well. What else have we had? There's other things as well.
The absolutely debacle with the fish and shooters party. Okay. That was actually going to be tonight's live stream, guys. What has happened to the fish and shooters party? Is it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They've got a lot of issues going on in all these bloody parties and internal politics amongst a lot of different parties, man. It's just what on earth happened? What has happened this last couple of months? Is there something in the water? Or I don't know. I mean, I'm shocked. I was kind of upset the last couple of weeks, but maybe we'll discuss that a little bit first, and then we'll go on to the point of topic, maybe towards the second half of the show. But
Yeah, exactly. But before we start, we would like to send our condolences out to the 3 innocent people that were murdered this week. Well, yesterday, was it the day before? To what happened. 2 police officers and an innocent civilian murdered by 3 filthy thugs. Condolences to all the families involved and friends. Totally uncalled for and disgusting. No words can really describe it at all. It's just completely and utterly wrong what has happened.
There's a lot to unpack, I guess, but I guess we'll do a small recap. Thanks for everyone for joining the stream. We'll do a bit of a readout of people in a little bit once people start joining. But I guess we'll do a bit of a recap of the election. Some good, some bad in Victoria. Obviously, the bad being, Aaron, that bloody bugger.
Daniel Andrews back in.
Mate, I must admit, you know what I started to think a little bit? So firstly, I started to think 2 things here. And I know there's a lot of people from Victoria that are in the stream, and they're probably good people because they wouldn't vote for, let me just turn this light down. They wouldn't vote for someone like Daniel Andrews. But, I mean, I thought at least if he did get in, he'd probably need the Greens or he'd need some other party to be able to, maintain and form government. But I thought this is either rigged, which I don't think's the case. Possibly, who knows, right? There's always some rigging of something going on, to a certain degree. But how stupid how stupid are the people of Victoria to again vote this guy back in? And obviously the last 2 years just weren't enough of head kicking, the cops kicking their heads in, the businesses being ruined, the mental health, the suicide, the no hospitals, but not being able to get a hospital bed, not being able to get an ambulance. That wasn't enough for people. They rewarded this guy with a second term, and not just a second term, and as I said, and I don't want to say, I know there's guys on here. I know Mr. Wonderful's one of them, and we've seen him in the chat. Again, I don't know why people keep, when I say something, it's like, I don't say it for fun or to be stupid. Like the guy, Matthew Guy was no chance of winning. And again, we saw that again. They thought Scott Morrison was going to win. He didn't win again. You know, I just keep saying this stuff and people just think it's not going to happen. Yet everything I keep saying just says, I hate that it's come true. I really hate that it's come true. I would have loved to have seen him gone. But, you know, I mean, and again, the flip side of the positives are, looks like Andy Medic from the Animal Justice Party's gone. Who else we got?
Patton.
Yeah, and Fiona Patton. That low filth trash is finally gone as well. I can't. That Fiona Patton follows my podcast on Twitter. She follows me on Twitter. I'm like, why would I follow you? She's an idiot. But anyway, that's some of the positives to come out of it. Andy Medic gone. Obviously, some negatives to that too. I think from what I saw yesterday, doesn't look like Tim Quilty for the Liberal Democrats. In fact, earlier in the week, it didn't look like any of the Liberal Democrat guys were actually going to maintain their seats. But I did hear this morning that Dave Limbrick has got his seat back, which I think he's very, very lucky that he's got it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeff Borman, I think, a definite, from what I understand, a definite shoe-in Victoria. You can imagine that you'd be pretty pissed off if you were those Liberal Democrat guys, and they're the only ones standing up for the people of Victoria, basically, and the other guy gets in. That's voting on Andrew's omnibus and pandemic laws. So, hey, politics is a strange thing, man. It's a strange thing.
Well, after this week of 3 Fisher and Shooters party members walking away and becoming independents, Borman's one of the only ones left, isn't he?
No, you've got 2 in New South Wales, 1 in Victoria. I haven't followed them much for the last year because I just, I want to go live my life and enjoy my shooting and stuff. And I know Helen Dalton was a lower house member. She left the party back in March. And then, no one needs an AR-15 Donato. So he's left the party. And Roy Butler as well has also left the party. So unfortunately, they also decided to stick with a 72-year-old party leader in Robert Borzak that, beggars belief is probably going to be gone within the next couple of years, but next, say, 3 to 5, what are you going to work to, 80? I mean, come on, he doesn't need the money. I mean, let's get serious here. So why would you want to stick with a party leader that's 72 years old and on the verge of retirement? But but on the flip side too, I don't like ultimatums from colleagues. I really don't like that sort of thing. I think if you're going to leave, just leave. Don't say, well, if you don't leave, I'm going to leave. Like, I just think, I don't like ultimatums. I mean, you either try and discuss it, talk it out, and then make a decision from there. Don't just talk about leaving and threaten to leave. Just leave if you're going to leave.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot more to that.
One Victorian election that who remembers the Labor Party that he rolled over on Daniel Andrews, Adam Somyurek. He was the one that was giving Daniel Andrews a lot of grief. He was a former Labor Party guy. Funnily enough, he actually beat Fiona Patton for that final seat. So she lost to Adam Somyurek, of all people. You just can't make this up, man.
Yeah, it's
anyway.
Yeah, well, it just shows there's not many normal people in Victoria, apart from the ones that really enjoy freedom and the outdoor lifestyles, like the people who watch this show. There's just not many normal people. And as I said, we did the election special, that most of the people who vote for him will be inner city people who were at home, locked down, and absolutely loving it, getting paid to sit on their asses at home, play computer games, drink all day, don't wear pants on their Zoom calls. They want to be locked down again and again and again because they're making money for not walking out their front door. And that's the people that he panders to.
This is the funny thing, right? I mean, what do people honestly think Liberal? Okay, fair enough. We don't know what the other parties are going to do. If they did form government, the Shooters and Fishers, the Liberal Democrats, the One Nations, etc., etc. We don't know what they're going to do because they've never been in Parliament, right? But again, house prices dropping, is energy prices dropping? Do we feel any better? Is there jobs are plentiful? Well, there is at the moment, but once this inflation kicks in, probably mid 2023, when we start seeing the effects of these interest rate hikes, that's probably going to change as well. And there's going to be a lot of competition for very minimal jobs, whereas totally the opposite right now. But I mean, our lives aren't better under these two major parties. That's for sure. None of them are going to do a single thing. A lot of them are in real estate, these politicians. So they're not going to make real estate cheaper for us. They're not going to make, energy cheaper for us. They're going to make us pay more taxes. I mean, if anything.
Just like they won't get rid of negative gearing and everything because they all use it. Hobby farms. They all have a hobby farm to rot that system. They will never get rid of that. You just look at what politicians do and own, and try and do that because you're going to be safe because they're not going to try to affect their paycheck or their way of rotting. Excuse me.
I mean, you watch
tax system.
Like I said, Tankmeister says here, Victoria is a big joke, as is the whole of Canada. Well, at least you know what they've got. At least they've got a strong conservative leader in Pierre Poilievre. I mean, you watch him. If you watch him and you compare him to, say, Matthew Guy in Victoria, even Peter Dutton, mate, it's worlds apart, man. It's worlds apart. I quite like that guy. He's young. Maybe he's a talker. I don't know. We'll see what he actually does if he actually gets in. But compared to Trudeau, I think Trudeau's quite scared of this guy. I think he realizes he's on the nose, and this guy's much more popular. You just go on his Facebook page, man, Pierre Poilievre. Look at his videos; they get sometimes hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. So obviously, there's Justin Trudeau's on the nose. But anyway,
that's other news. They just banned pistols. I think it was last week. No pistols.
No, it's been going on for a while now. It's been going on for a while.
Well, it finally went through. As Trudeau was on all the social media saying, as from today, no pistols can be sold or transferred or anything ever again in Canada.
Yeah. And then they're trying to ban hunting rifles. He was standing up in Parliament talking against it. There was one, she's quite cute, actually, one female chick that was a politician that was standing up for him too and was, give him a lot of curry as well, standing up for the hunting industry.
Hang on. Did you just assume her gender?
Well, she looked like a woman and she looked cute. So, I mean... I can only go on what I'm seeing. Let's not go there. But
at the end of the day, there's only two genders.
Andy 1234777. Unfortunately, Matt, he knows plenty of people that voted for him. He means Daniel Andrews. It's just, mate, I was kind of peeved off. I was kind of peeved off. Yeah, listen, I know I was going to be right, but I didn't think I was going to be that right. Like I thought at least he'd get half a chance, of trying to do something. But you can't compare Matthew Guy with quality conservative leaders it's just like Poilievre from Canada. It's just two different people, man. But anyway, there's some good news and some bad news. Bad news is the bastard got in. Good news is Andy Medic's out. Good news is Fiona Patton can suck a fat one as well. She's gone, sucked in. That's the only joy we're going to get from that. That's the only joy. And Dave Limbrick got back in, I think, as of this morning from the Liberal Democrats. Tim Quilty looks like a no-go for, I think, what's Tim Quilty, Northern Victoria? I don't think he's a no-go in Northern Victoria. So.
Oh, this is funny. Remember how I said on the Victorian election, you'll get the all these organisations and so-called industry people demanding who you should be voting for. Vote for my friend. Vote for me. Vote for who I recommend. And I said, after the elections, they will all bag everybody who didn't. Every excuse will come out why their man didn't come out, and they'll blame all of us for not voting for him. And I've been seeing that all over the internet.
I think
I told you to vote for him and you didn't. You're all useless.
Listen, what I know Aaron doesn't, but whilst I'll vote for pro-gun parties again, we've got to get a little bit serious.
What pro-gun party?
Well, I'm just saying in general, right? Let's say you got. Let's say we've got. Okay, let's say we've got three. Let's say we've got two of them, shooters. And I'm losing the term loosely, right? People would say, right? It'd be the Liberal Democrats and shooters and fishers, right? Well, they've lost three in the lower house now in New South Wales. That drops them down to two in New South Wales and one in Victoria. Correct me if there's any more guys. There's more on. That's them. They lost Rick Mazza in WA. We also lost the Liberal Democrats. What was the guy we used to do in WA? What was his name? You know the guy, the well-spoken guy, the airsoft guy. I liked it. I've gone blank. Come on, guys. Let me know in the comments.
Not
Aaron
the
Stonehouse. Aaron
Yes.
Stonehouse. So we've got Aaron
Yeah.
Stonehouse. He's gone. Rick Mazza's gone. They've lost three people in New South Wales who have quit the party. We've lost Tim Quilty in Victoria. In 25 years, surely and slowly we're supposed to be increasing that amount of people. Unfortunately, that's just not happened. And actually, we're going in reverse. We've lost so many people in Parliament. That's why me and Aaron keep saying that you can scream till you're blue in the face about having pro-gun people in Parliament, but at the end of the day, like in New South Wales, they've got no balance of power, and the same goes for Victoria. So people can say I'm biased. I like the Liberal Democrats, but I'm biased to them. But if we're being flat out and honest, Shooters and Fish have achieved nothing in Victoria, and neither is the Liberal Democrats. So at the end of the day, that's just the facts of the matter. Same thing in Queensland. I mean, I was having a discussion with someone the other day, and he was pro SFP, and we've had a bit of argy-bargy before on this same particular issue. And we're talking about Queensland. And I said, well, Queensland arguably is probably one of the better states for gun laws across the country. And other than Bob Katter, which has not got a single piece of legislation over the line in 53 years of Parliament, you don't even have an upper house. You've really never had a pro-gun except for Bob Katter. And arguably, you've got better laws than we do in bloody New South Wales. So how the friggin' hell does that work?
Yep, exactly.
I mean, again, I'm not saying you've got the best gun laws, of course. Like, they're all shit, but probably the best of the shit, so to speak,
Yeah, exactly. And, fish and shooters will never get a foothold in here. I don't think they've been registered up here. But I am seeing a lot of comments on the main topic today, so I reckon we should do a shout out to everyone and then move on to that.
Yeah. Anyway,
So,
Jason,
sorry.
Read them off. Sorry. Yeah, I got to go to the other screen. Hang on a second. Okay. So there's not many showing up, guys. So what I'm going to do in the participants, I'm going to go back. Let's go to the top. Sorry if I read people out twice because, again, the bloody participants is not showing up correctly. Cyber Spooky, we've got Probing. Salty Skippy, we've got Chris Legendary, D40, Lockie McFarlane, Matt Rumsey, William, Matt Cato, Ben Wixelsma. Sorry, buddy, if I've got that wrong. I do apologize. Tankmeister, Adam Basham. I've said Matt Rumsey, didn't I? Scott Stiles. We've got Cliff Lee. We've got Ray Thomas. M. Gabriel. Who else we got here? Of course, Matt Cato. I think I said it. Badger James, Bones 270. Chris Legend. I think I said him. Neil H. Phantom HD, as usual. Mr. Wonderful, one of our regulars. Farmer Dave. Andy 1234 ADV Mark. Liberty Revolutionary. Ooh, I like that one. What happened to our old mate? What was it? Looking Over Hell. We haven't seen him for a while, have we? Carbon Spider. M. Trundle.
Carbon Spider is one of our lovely viewers from the US. They're in Georgia.
Nat Outdoors Adventures. Liam Cumbo. We've got Sam Scott. We've got Colin Penfold. He's a long-term viewer. Ray Thomas. Not sure if I read Ray, but you might get a double shout-out. William. We've also got Archie Kaboom. I like that name, Archie Kaboom. Damien Milk. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's an interesting name. I like that one. Sorry if I've missed a Benny 881. I guess I read out Phantom HD, so he can get a number 2 readout. We've got Vitrix 300. Lockie McFarlane already read here. Rule 303. Sean White. Dirty Fox. Navinator. Sorry if I got Navinator wrong. I do apologize. I hate getting names wrong. But Daniel Nixon. Welcome, Daniel. Yeah, sorry if I've missed anyone. I'm just trying to... A lot of people were commenting, so it's not showing up in the participants for some reason, which is stupid. But anyway, it is what it is. I just had to scroll through and not try and read out people twice. So
here's a funny couple of messages here that I'll just quickly read out before we start the topic. From Sam Scott. You won't change the gun laws intentionally. And best chances Ron DeSantis wins presidency. Yep, and well, at least you got gun laws over in the US. And then our friend Liberty Revolution, Sam. These guys are in Australia. They're fucked. Yes, we are fucked when it comes to gun laws, Sam. And Liberty, we certainly are.
Yeah. Listen, I'll make my prediction now. I think DeSantis would be... I think it's going to get messy if DeSantis runs against Trump in 2024. Whether Trump wins in 2024, But Trump will be the front runner in 2024, no doubt about it. I think he'd be stupid. He's a bit, not that he's too young, DeSantis. I think he's fantastic, but I just think, better off, wait until the Trump era is finished and then have a great chance to, potentially become president. Because once you do your 8 years, pretty much his career will end pretty early. So I think it might be, he's only about 45, I think. So that'd probably only get him to 54. And then pretty much you're gone after that. So I would wait a little bit. But anyway, that's my prediction. My predictions have been pretty bloody darn good so far. Sometimes good in a bad way because I didn't want them to play out. But, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, well, I truly do hope Trump wins because there's nothing better than seeing lefties cry. I absolutely love it. I did forgot to mention thank you to Lockie McFarlane for the $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Lockie. Do appreciate that.
Yeah, Rusty's joined. So anyway, what can you do? That's the state of affairs at the moment. Unfortunately, we're in disarray in Victoria. Some of these political parties are in disarray. People leaving. Egos, man. I mean, I said this about 7 or 8 years ago, and people laughed. I said, there was time to get rid of and move on from. We thank you for your service to those guys, but time to move on. Your old hat, your old views. They just want. I'm not saying they just want the money, but it's time to move on, and they don't want to move on. And so now, like in New South Wales, the shooters officials have lost 3, lower house MPs because everyone's got a fucking ego, man. It's just like, mate, you're 72. Time to move on. Go into retirement. Enjoy your hunting. Fantastic. Time to get some young, upcoming people in there that know about gun laws, that can get in the media and make a good case for whatever it is we want, and at least, be a good talker. As I said, if they watch Pierre from Canada, just watch him and be like him, then you might have half a chance to win some people over. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, what have you got to bring up anyway?
Well, let's talk about tonight's topic, which is extremely sad and very, very disappointing. And once again, we send out condolences to the people affected and the 3 innocent people that were murdered by these filthy thugs here up in Queensland. And it's actually not too far from where I was working this week that it actually happened. So what actually happened, guys, I'm sure all Australians here know because it's the only thing that's on the news, is that some police went to a rural property, to look at find a missing persons. He was actually the missing person was at his brother's and sister-in-law's house. 2 police officers came up to the driveway and were gunned down and killed. And then
I think there was 3 of them. I think there was
officers,
3 of them. But what? Yeah. Oh, you go. You go. Yeah.
I think there's 4. I think there was 4. 2 were down, and one was grazed today, and he got away. And one, and they actually her out to.
I'm losing you, man. I'm losing you. Sorry, guys. I mean, can you let me know in the comments? I've lost Aaron. Is he gone? Let me know in the comments. Sorry, I'm not sure if it's me or it's him. Let me know in the comments, guys. Sorry, I'm not sure. So Aaron's frozen on my screen. Me lagging, or is it Aaron? No, I think it might be Aaron, guys. I think it is. Is it Aaron? Let me know in the comments. He's frozen in time. Yeah, well, I'm sure he's been having internet problems. Yeah, he's gone. Okay, good. All right, Aaron's gone. All right, look, good to know. So I'm just going to, while he's getting back in, there we go, disappears. Now my big fat head's on screen. So I've just been looking at, apparently they're saying it's 2 brothers, Gareth, Nathaniel, and Stacey Train. They're all former employees, or 3 of them are former employees of the Queensland Department of Education. And someone actually said something good here. I'm just trying to find it just down here. Someone actually said something very interesting about one of them. I'm not sure which one it was. Gareth Train resigned from the department in May 2016. Nathaniel Train resigned from the department in March of 2020. And Stacey's one of the wife resigned from the department in 2021. That's Aaron. Internet died. After leaving his role as principal at Yorkeys Knob High School, Nathaniel Train moved to New South Wales to become a principal at Walgett Community College. There is evidence that he was a dedicated educator throughout his career, with Walgett parent Katrina Marshall telling 7 News he had a great compassion for students. I never had a problem with him, she said. My son gets special needs and does not do well at all at school. Nathaniel Train started putting in measures for him to feel safe during school and during classes and participate in more activities, she said. He started laying the foundation and work for that. Unfortunately, he went off sick, and we got a new principal who continued on with that. He was nothing but supportive. If you had an issue, you could speak with him. It's reported the reason the 46-year-old Train went on sick leave was he suffered a heart attack. So, I mean, at least one of them, all in all essence, they probably seem like just normal, down-to-earth, high school or primary school educators. That's the interesting part. Like, I'm still at, how can I explain this in the best way? Oh, I just played something then. I guess the biggest question is, how on earth did, what's the word I'm trying to think? How can I say this properly? How do people go from, like, I mean, I'm not saying there's anything more to it than what we've heard, but it just seems weird, I guess, that somebody would start shooting, is not only willing to kill people, kill police, kill innocent people, bystanders, so forth, then get killed themselves. I mean, that's pretty full on, eh? Like, if you're willing to kill and then get killed yourself, how did we get from here to here? That's the part that's spooky. I mean, Aaron's got some news articles going to bring up in the minute. I'm just going to read some of your comments. Phantom HD said, principal from Walgett. Brendan Davis said they were all crackheads with illegal firearms, right? Media calls for more gun bans to help with that. Already illegal firearms. Well, that's what we're hearing so far. Apparently, I don't think they had gun licenses from what I'm understanding, because if they did, you probably would have heard that right now. There's a lot of different articles, too, going around saying, well, it was a love triangle between, the two brothers and the wife. And, I mean, I want to find out what really going on, because, one, why do you say, and also, too, let's not forget, when the guy was missing, too, he was missing for over a year. So did they get a heads up that he might have been at this property? I mean, surely you would think if the guy's been missing for a year, you probably would have already spoken to the brother a year before that. I mean, once the guy went missing, surely you'd be talking to family members, and maybe they had spoken to family members. I don't know, and they didn't know where he was. But Mr. Wonderful said the media is referring to them as conspiracy theories, typical scumbag media. Yeah, I mean, an alternative view. Apparently that's not good enough, and they need to be shamed. What firearms were used? Sorry, where was that from? That was from Steve Thomas. They're saying some sort of semi-automatic. We don't really know yet from what I've seen. Let's have a look. Who else we got? Ryan said Badger James semi-automatic firearms illegal unless it's a pistol, so it was obtained illegally and they were not licensed. So to fall out from gun owners shouldn't be so bad. Well, that's the interesting part. That's the part that concerns me the most. When the general public die from gun homicide, they're calling for, sometimes you'll hear they're calling for gun reform. If it's illegal, you don't really hear too much about it, so to speak. But unfortunately, when the police die, we've got to, jump up and down and consider their lives more important than the general public, which I don't really agree with. I've never agreed with that. I just think anyone that dies is a tragic circumstance. Doesn't matter if you're in this force, you're in the fire brigade, you're in the ambulance service, or you're just a general person on the street. Because I'm watching a fundraiser here. We might even post it, because I normally don't post these sort of things anymore because we've been burnt in the past. But there is a GoFundMe. So the guy, the innocent bystander that got shot, his name was Al, apparently. His name's Al. That's all I know him of. They said there's a farewell service. It looks like they've raised about, and he's got a wife named Kerry, $49,210, which I guess is a small consolation. I'm sure Kerry, the wife, would rather her partner / husband to be alive instead of getting GoFundMe money. But, I'm sure she needs the money for, the funeral and so forth. Very, very sad state of affairs, unfortunately. But the part that disappoints me, I guess, the most is the fact that poor Al seems to have, no one's talking about poor Al. It's just these police officers as if their lives are more important than poor Al's, which, like I said, I don't agree with whatsoever. I think all three people should be reported evenly. I mean, I'd probably say he might be even more of a hero because, the fact that he didn't have to get involved. It wasn't his job to get involved. He just thought he was doing the right thing and unfortunately lost his life, man, trying to help people, which is, all the power to him. You can't critique that under any circumstances, can you? So anyway, we'll read some comments. We're waiting for Aaron to come back. Benny said, haven't heard, Benny881, haven't heard what guns were used, but have heard no guns registered at that address. Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, generally criminals don't go through the process of getting licenses and registering their firearms because I'm sure the process to get it illegally is much easier than it is to actually to get a gun license. Obviously, I don't condone that, but, these people just go buy one off the street instead of having to go through a large process of what they put in place. So, I mean, that's what criminals do, eh? They buy illegal guns. Ryan says, anyone know what guns used? No, we haven't. They're saying semi-automatic, but they say a lot of things. Then all of a sudden it could be a bloody handgun for all we know. M. Trundle says, choppers overhead all night. M. Trundle says, I think his dad, or was it, sorry, I missed your question before, M. Trundle, or that one of his family members or something lives not too far from these people. Bones 270, you won't hear anything in the media if they use semi-autos. Well, I think we already have Bones, to be honest. They've already said something about it. Cyber Spooky makes a good point. Why did they send 4 officers for a simple missing persons welfare check? Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, young, inexperienced people as well, which is also disappointing. That's why I always say to people, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're an officer, whether you're a general public, we take our safety for granted, I think, in everything we do, in public, in our job, in just general life. And sometimes you don't know when people are going to turn like this. I mean, these people had no idea these people were going to turn on them. And that's what I'm saying. Why were they just cracked out junkies? It just doesn't make any sense how people are willing to kill and be killed as well. What drives you to that point, man? It's just, I mean, I guess we'll never know now because they're all dead, but, it's an interesting thing. Rusty, yeah, it makes a good point. How many people /men die in the building industry every year? Nothing said. Well, exactly, man. That's why I keep saying, no lives are more important as anyone else. Everyone's equal. Yeah, sure, people will put won't put equal weight apparently on human death. Apparently, the lives of officers are more important than that of the general public, which, like I said, I totally disagree with. I mean, like that said, that guy didn't have to go in there, didn't have to get involved. He tried to save and help people. What a top bloke, you can't say anything about him, can you? Aaron Johnson said, yeah, police are not more important than general citizens. Yep, exactly. Everyone's the same. Got to treat everyone equal because, I'm looking at these articles now, about 4 of them on my Firefox or Chrome browser, basically article after article after article after article about these cops. And it's like that poor guy with the GoFundMe that's raising for his friend, Al, the guy that died. It's like he's been forgotten about. No one cares about him anymore. That's tragic as well, man. Like, he was a person too and deserves, the kudos for getting in there and being a hero. So anyway, it is what it is. What can you do? I guess it's done now. We can't, we could take it back. We probably would, but, Salty Skippy, they'll spin the narrative to suit their agenda, to gaslight the mass into believing all guns are bad no matter what. Yep, we saw this in Victoria. If what Daniel Andrews did in Victoria is, not enough to get, is not enough to, not get re-elected, I think Australia is in a very, very bad way moving into the future. I think we've got a lot more major issues coming up. But did you finally get it fixed, you bastard, or what?
Yeah, the whole modem crashed. Internet's gone.
Get rid of that computer. That modem, gone. You've been working a lot. You've been getting that sweet insurance money. Head down to the shop. Get yourself a new computer. You've got the monitors. Just go buy the box. Go buy the box.
It's going in the bin.
Oh, go buy the big box, mate.
I shall do. Yeah, no, sorry, guys. Yeah, but it was the internet this time. The actual modem crash, a Telstra modem.
Anyway, like
Sucks
what I've
living
been
out here.
saying since Aaron's got, I mean, do you think, guys? I'm scrolling down the comments. Do you think I'm off the mark? Is it not? Because I've been basically saying, that the poor guy that got killed. I mean, he's basically poor bastards. But you've seen an article or two, but basically he's been forgotten, man. It's all about just the police officers. Like I said, I consider him to be probably the main, because he had no weapons. And number two, he didn't have to get involved, man. He did not have to get involved. He could have just stayed home and lived. But, he forewent his own safety to help some people out, man. Like that's a real dude, that guy, man. Like what, mate, that must have taken real guts, man. I mean, look what we saw in America in some of the shootings. Some of the police officers are being convicted now of not going into those schools when there was a mass shooter in those schools because they were being paid to do so. Yeah, it's a shit situation. I wouldn't want to do it either, to be honest with you. But I also, if you take on that role, you've got to expect at some stage shit may hit the fan and you've just got to do it. It sucks, but then again, human nature takes over. People get scared. People don't know what to do. And thankfully in America, they prosecute these people for not doing the right thing. And I think they should do that.
Well, the neighbour, I actually put a link in my Facebook page. Go over to the Facebook page. Links in the description. And I've actually linked the fundraiser for the Alan Dane, I think his name was. His actual GoFundMe. He's up to this afternoon. He was at $36,000 to help his wife out. They actually drove up and he was gunned down on the road, and his wife was in the car and hid in the car while his wife was her husband was dead on the road in front of the car apparently. So it's very sad that it happened.
I just put the link in there. So, I mean, if you can throw up, a few, I'm sure, mate, what a guy, man, like takes a lot to, get involved in something like that.
Apparently he went over to see what all the noise was, the gunfire and the smoke. I'm pretty sure he was a fireman or something with the fire brigade. So yeah, smoke and fire out in the rural, we all jump and want to know what's happening because it can affect everybody. So maybe that's why he went over there, and the poor bugger was shot in the driveway. And he sounded like the sort of person he would have gone in and helped the two police officers that were already down.
Yeah, but that's the main thing. I mean, listen, why would you? Missing persons generally doesn't, and some people are saying it here too. For police officers going to a property for a missing person, I said you just generally don't see that. You'd see, I mean, most officers work in pairs. You'd normally see two. So why is four? I mean, we haven't heard anything yet, but they were hiding something at the property. Was it a big, massive cooking crack den? I don't know. I'm not going to say anything ill about those people. Yeah. Well, they killed people. That's their bastards as it is. But
pure human garbage.
But I mean, what promotes people to do that? That's the biggest thing. Like, I mean, you got to have some fucking balls, man, to want to kill police and the general public, and then potentially be killed yourself, man. Like, that's just not something people do every day, man. That's totally out of the,
They could have been smacked out on anything. Who knows?
Could have been.
I'm sure they were. It's got to be more to this. They've just a missing person. I just assume this is sort of crap.
Hey, don't forget,
with drugs.
He was missing for a year. So had they been there before, maybe they got a tip that they thought he was at the property. They maybe heard from town because, it's just probably a small town. From what I've seen of the property, it looks fairly remote part of Queensland. So
yeah, the neighbour was on 114 acres, I think.
Yeah, like does someone rock up for a missing person, then start shooting and everyone dies, man? It's just, I don't know. Like, what the hell, man? I'm not coming up with conspiracy theories. I just want to know exactly what bloody hell happened. I think everyone wants to know how all this went wrong.
Yeah, exactly. It's good that the wife's up to $50,000 because the two police officers will get a state funeral. And I think that so should the neighbour. He was a part of it all, just helping out. So... yeah, so up to $50,000 to have to pay for the funeral expenses, which is fantastic.
And I know some people, listen, I'm going to say this in a certain way. I know some people, I'm a little bit one of them to a certain degree. some people are not happy with, and I get it, the last couple of years, how the police treated people, but, we should also, just try and keep it reasonable, guys,
Yeah, you shouldn't
Yeah.
be gunned down like that. Just
I know.
yeah,
Listen, I know people are angry. I get it, man. People not happy with the last couple of years, but it'd be good if just this stuff didn't happen. You know what I mean? To anybody, regardless whether we like or they don't like the police. Like I said, I'm generally not a big fan because of all the things that have happened, how shooters continually get treated, how we were treated the last couple of years. The attacking of general community people. Victoria shooting them with rubber bullets. Kicking them in the face, treading on their necks, stepping on their heads. I don't like it. I think it's disgraceful. I think it's disgraceful, but let's always keep it reasonable and, just, we all try and do the right thing. And, hopefully if I don't think it's going to happen, but hopefully if we do the right thing, the police will learn to do the right thing as well where necessary. I won't hold my breath, but it is what it is.
Exactly. But I think there's a lot more that will come out of this or should come out of this. I heard one article trying to find out about the guns. People on here have said non-legal guns, illegal guns, and they weren't firearms legal owners, and it was illegal guns that were used. I heard one, I think Channel 7 did an article on it and said they were shotguns. But how do you shoot a guy out on the street on a rural property to a shotgun? I'm on 2 acres and my driveway is like 300 meters long. And I'm pretty sure the shotgun wouldn't go that far. Well, I know it wouldn't go that far and do anything like that. And the police officer, one of the head cops were on the news saying that they were met with hails of bullets, volleys of bullets, and that. So was it really a shotgun? Was it semi-autos? I'm sure as hell if they were involved in drugs and that, it just wouldn't be a legal gun, a bolt-action gun that we're restricted to here. That's for sure. But they did. I don't know if you talked about it while my computer went down, but yeah, they went out and executed the 2 police on the driveway in cold blood and took their Glocks as well off them.
Yeah. Someone's saying it's the Australian version of bloody Ruby Ridge, but there's an American shooting, but I guess things will come out over the next couple of weeks.
Ruby Ridge was totally different. They were, those people. That was, the victims were the actual people. The FBI.
Well,
came
listen,
they shot Ruby Ridge. They shot children.
Yeah, well, that's right. And I want to. It's always going to be spun to a certain thing to say these people are bad, right? But let's just break down all the noise around it and let's just actually get what happened. That's what I think people want, need, and deserve, I guess. The general public deserves to know what happened, but are we going to get the right answer without the added noise on top of it to say that all these people are bad? Okay, they are bad. I'm not saying they're not bad, but what I'm saying is, to find out how this occurred and what actually happened without all the noise saying, well, the whole media thing is totally negative. Like, let's just break down what actually happened and then go from there. I think that's probably the best option, but we're not really getting much from these articles. A lot of different stuff.
Chris said, cops said high-powered rifles. So if it was a volley, it probably wouldn't have been a bolt-action legal gun. It would have been more than likely, only speculating here, bound to be an illegal semi-auto. There's thousands and thousands of SKSs and that are buried after all around those sort of areas when Howard came for the big gun grab. I'm sure most of them have been sold off.
Hey, and Aaron made a good point. I don't always agree with Aaron. I don't always agree, but I do a lot. But I think Aaron made a point. I know there's some people probably going to disagree with this to a certain degree, but I did have a chance to think about it. And Aaron made a point about a week ago and said a lot of this stuff and the whole gun thing and Gough Whitlam, you can say, yeah, but talk about politicians. A lot of this Australian turning into a nanny state really did start with John Howard. It really did. I believe that. A lot of this issues about Australia turning into a nanny state, banning the guns, just change people's psyches about their reliance on the
Life.
government, not liking freedom, like what we've seen in Victoria. I think a lot of this did start with John Howard. I really do, man. He was basically a lefty, really claiming to be conservative. I think, you know what I mean. You know, you know, from many different aspects that aren't gun related, but we won't get into those. But at the end of the day, I just think a lot of this nanny statism and the turn of that century to 2000s was when people really started just to rely on government good and police good and citizens bad, and we need to be in chains all the time. Like a lot of it did start with Howard, but maybe you can put your point of view.
Yeah, I want to thank M. Trundle for the $10 super chat. He says, we are 3 properties over and it's a bloody tragedy out here. We look out for each other. 100%. I live in the countryside as well. And if I heard gunfire and smoke and everything, I'd probably have go see if my neighbours were okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, how well did the neighbour know these guys, Was he going to go check on them, just going to see what the fire and the smoke was, because it could spread to all the properties, and we've had it out here, big bushfires out here with smoke. So everyone's on. When you see a lot of smoke, everyone's on tender hooks. Who just knows? But thank you for that, Mr. Trundle. And
Glenn saying police union president saying shotguns. I mean, I would believe that, but I'd believe police unions as far as I could throw them. That they'll make up and say anything needed to garner support. For any cause, not just this cause I'm talking about, but just any cause in general. So, I mean, I take what they say with a grain of salt. But I mean, again, are we really going to get the right answers, or really? I don't know, man. It sucks, but just strip away all the shit. Give us the answers about exactly why and what happened. Was it purely just a welfare check? Was there something going on there? Was it for some other reason?
Yeah, the police union president said, that's what Glenn said. Said shotguns were used against the police officers, and police said that a rifle was used at 150 meters on the neighbor.
Yeah, they're not good getting bloody rifled, ADV Mark says, yeah, man, population that hates freedom. What the hell? Exactly, mate. People don't like freedom. We saw that in Victoria, man. They loved Big Daddy Dan and further lockdowns, mate. I honestly, for about a day, I remember I called Aaron. I was just sitting there shaking my head going, how did this happen? How on earth? But Australia is still in their chains, mate. It's just a fact. I mean, we've never gotten out of that colony sort of feeling, so to speak. I mean, we government is always good. Government's not always good according to these people, but we'll just give them control over our lives. It's, mate, beggars belief to me, but mate, I'm still.
Yeah, I agree totally. But William says, yeah, you're absolutely right, Jason. It started with the guns. Now access to bush is going away. Fishing is becoming, so hard now. In areas, riding single trail is illegal. Anything recreational is going away. 100%. This is something that as Jason knows, I've always said, it started from Howard's laws and ramming. No one had problems with guns since John Howard. It wasn't really an issue. Of course, you're always going to get people anti-guns. You get people anti-four-wheel drive. You get people anti-fishing. You get people anti eating meat is a big thing now. Of course, the vegans. You get anti. There's always someone anti something, but you always had that in the past. But as soon as John Howard banned those guns, basically, pretty much overnight since that tragedy happened, 25 odd years ago, that's when the psyche of Australia changed. It really did. We became a bunch of soft cocks, and everything was bad. Everything could hurt us. We should just sit at home.
I mean, they banned fireworks, for goodness sake. We couldn't even have fireworks. Who was that under? That was obviously a state issue, but you couldn't even get frigging goddamn fireworks. Who remembers bloody cracker night? We used to have cracker night once a year, and your dad would get out the big bag of crackers, and we'd have a good time. This is, pathetic, man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where it all started. It started from John Howard. John Howard single-handedly did the decline of Australia. and our way of life.
And a way of life, yeah. Dan Gerling said, I'd say the police had been there before. Maybe who they questioned was hostile. Went back to investigate further, hence why they had more cops on site. Yeah, anything's possible. Cyber Spooky, don't fool yourself. We don't have freedom. Exactly. I said this the last couple of years too with with what happened the last couple of years. People are out there saying, oh, wait until the court hearings start and all this sort of stuff. And, these people are going to be held accountable. No, they're not. None of these people are going to be held accountable, man. I mean, if you think the courts are going to rule for the people, you're just kidding yourself, guys. You're kidding yourself. We saw they didn't rule for the people. They stuck with their buddies, which was the government. The court stuck with their buddies, which was Daniel Andrews and the government. And didn't
write the paychecks.
Yeah, because they write the paychecks. Like when you go to ombudsman's offices and so forth, they're all paid by the government. You think they're really going to clamp down on the people that pay them? No way. Kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Rusty says he's leaving Victoria permanently. Well, let us know where you're going, Rusty. Where are you headed?
Get up here to Queensland. It's the last century. But what I want to say is, before my computer cut out, of course, was I really, really hope the gun grabbers and the filthy politicians don't jump all over this and make it out banning guns through this tragedy, because there is nothing more sickening than the death of people, and this was 3 innocent people that were murdered for pushing an agenda. There is nothing lower in life than that. So that's just what I'm worried about. What are they going to ban next? I got my speculations. Anything could happen. You look at Man Monis at the Lint Cafe siege. He had an illegal Cat C gun that was banned by John Howard, sawn-off shotgun that didn't even make any form of legality in any form way ever. It had a sawn-off shotgun, pump-action shotgun, and what do they come after? Lever-action shotguns.
Yeah.
They had nothing to do with it. I hope they don't try and use this tragedy to push their filthy agenda.
Of course they will.
Yeah.
Because
there is nothing lower.
I'm actually surprised we haven't.
Scummier than benefiting for your own agenda of innocent people's deaths.
I don't think we've heard a surprise. Hey, this is surprising. At least the ones that I've read, we haven't really heard much about the gun thing. Really saying, "Oh, we need to start looking at gun laws." I haven't seen anything yet. Perhaps if anyone can share some links in the comments, I might have a look at them. But I haven't really heard too much about saying about gun laws or this or that. It's more just the terrible thing of what happened. But Rule 303 said John Howard's policies were as bad as his bowling. If people don't know what he means, I'm not sure if he was in Australia or he was in India or something, but he's bowling a ball on the cricket pitch to some young kids. And just type in John Howard bowling on YouTube and you'll see it. It is literally the funniest thing you've ever seen in your life. He's not. He wasn't the legend Warnie, that's for sure, man. It was. You got to watch it.
Exactly. So I'm actually.
Ryan says the government is not your parent. People need to wake up. No more nanny state. Yeah, exactly. William said, "I'm right, Jason. It started with the guns. Now access to the bush is going right. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, anything illegal. That was the one Aaron read. Yeah, 100%, man. It's just our way of life just seemed to have changed in that early late 90s to early 2000s, and then look at all the stuff we've got going on today, man. I'm not going to go into it because they're not related to shooting, but all this woke stuff that's popping up, and I feel like society's just going to the wall.
I do think it has got to do with shooting. All this woke stuff happened from the 1996 bans. That's where it started. We probably wouldn't have all this crap here in Australia if our government were strong, proper government.
Yeah, but all people care about, two things people care about. One, being re-elected politicians, and people getting free money from the government. I mean, who are you going to vote for? Like someone that wants to give you more money or someone that's going to give you less money? That's why again, that's why it's hard sometimes for the Liberals to win, because they've got to go in with conservative policy of tightening the belt, and people love free money. It is what it is. But
yeah, and I agree with that, because Labor just came out and said that next year all the dole blooders are going to get one of the largest increases ever. So even more free money for sitting at home to smoke drugs and get pissed all day and do nothing.
Yeah, Kat said the neighbor was a top bloke who was always ready to help anyone in need. Exactly, man. What a legend. Like I said earlier in the show, I just feel a bit bad for the poor family, man. Like it seems that poor bastard Al's been forgotten about, and it's all about the police. Like, how about these, news agencies get a bit of self-respect for themselves and the general public and start posting and do some write-ups about this guy, man, and how he did the right thing. And he didn't have, like I said, guys, he didn't have to do anything. He could have just stayed in his house and still be alive, most likely. But he forewent his own safety and tried to help people. Like, doesn't get paid the job to carry a gun. He had no form of defense, none whatsoever. And again, I say that again, if he was able to defend himself, perhaps things might have been a bit different too. But of course, the government will never say that. They'll never say that. But anyway, yeah, he's a good bloke, that guy. Well, God bless him.
I wonder what would have happened if he did turn up armed for his own safety to see what's going on.
Well,
Would he, and
or if he helped them and saved them, and then save the other one or the other person that got away, or save them, or was able to save those two people under heavy gunfire. I mean, a lot of coulda, shoulda, wouldas. But what would have happened? Would they have? I'd be bloody I wouldn't be prosecuting him. I'd be giving him a bravery award.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, in life, there is always going to be shit stains, and these three people who committed these horrible murders were absolute scumbags in life. And unfortunately, no matter what, you're always going to get people like this. And those sort of people are always going to get illegal guns. No gun laws in the entire world would ever stop something like this. Just down the road from there, a few years ago, that was where the police officer was gunned down with a full auto machine gun in his car, lured down a dead end road, and the guy opened fire through the windshield and then killed the poor cop there with a full auto fire. That was only just down the road. And then there's also a huge siege with some other nutcase, right? Not a legal firearm owner, in a barn was shooting at police as well. Yeah. It all seems to be in that area.
I mean, there's always seems to be this one of people saying, oh, they're conspiracy people now. But I mean, people are even saying just normal things that are happening and just normal stuff, and they get branded to be bloody conspiracy people as well. So, like I said, what did they actually believe in? I guess we'll never really know, because we'll never get a straight answer from the media. Rule 303 said, once again, this proves buyback is a failure. Well, yeah, a lot of the ones, they're all, but, what they'll say is they go, well, we banned these guns, but, can you imagine if everyone had them? They'll say, look how many shootings we'd have. And I go, well, they're still getting these guns. Hey, you obviously went there and you were undergunned, because whatever gun they had most likely was, more powerful than the one you had. Hence, they're all gone. You know what I mean? 3 people died, for God's sake. What's more to know? What's more to know?
Exactly. Bad people will always get these guns, no matter what. No gun laws in the world is going to stop scumbags for doing what they're doing. Nothing, no gun laws at all will ever stop them.
Archie Kaboom makes a good point here. He said it's totally off topic, but he goes, wood heaters are next. Yeah, mate, they're already got a push now on local governments about getting rid of your bloody wood heater. I mean, that's my dream. I told you guys my dream is to have a property to shoot on, me zero-turn mower, me wood heater, and a house. That's it. That's my dream.
Well, I just saw a mate at work said today, 500,000 here in Queensland, you get 1,000 acres at Millmerran.
Yeah, where's that? In the middle of boondocks, is it?
Nah.
Hickville.
No, just a farming area.
That's where all the explants from Tasmania go up to that area.
They stay in Tasmania because it's not so damn hot.
Yeah, Sam Scott said that they banned the fireworks in 1999, 2000. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure if it was I'm not sure if it was a federal ban. Probably it was a state by state ban, wasn't it? Or they probably banned the imports too. Again, I'll do a bit more research on that. But all I know is they banned it, whether it was state or federal. And we used to, my mum and dad and my brother used to love Cracker Night. Canned in the late 80s in New South Wales. That was Glen. Yep. I mean, same thing. And my mate said too, and we'll talk about this too, just a quick segue. Fishing. Steve says, I get hounded every time for a license and bag check. Exactly. I mean, same thing again. All the fishing, a lot of the fishing. Who remembers before fishing licenses? I've never been a fan of fishing licenses. I never will be. Queensland doesn't have a fishing license. Why should New South Wales? Anyway, that's my rant for that. But they get hounded all the time by people. Fishing, all the shops that went out of business. Who used to go down to their local area? There'd be 3 or 4 fishing shops. You come to Sydney, there's only so many of the fishing shops around Sydney. In my area, except for your BCFs and Anacondas, there's hardly any. You can't even go to your local tackle shop now because you introduce licenses, you ban all that. Yeah, you make it difficult for people. People just stop fishing, and they bloody go out there, and the businesses go out of business. Anyway, everything's banned, or everything needs a goddamn license.
Do what old Andy does. Every time I'm asked for a fishing license, I respond with, "I'm Aboriginal. Leave you alone then." Pretty much the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my right to go fishing. I like it. I like it.
It should be everyone's right. Just like public land, crown land, we're taxpayers. We own that. You go to places overseas and you can do, they have areas cordoned off. I knew in New Zealand they had on public land a massive rifle range.
Yeah.
And then owned by the government. Next to that was a big 4-wheel driving park owned by the government that taxpayers could use. And on the other side of the gun range was a massive mountain bike and hiking area out in the wilderness. But over here, no.
William makes a funny point too. He goes, "It's crazy fisheries can take your boat and car if they want to." Yeah, well, I remember when I used to do a lot of this research, I'd assume it'd still be similar now. I can check next week. But in 2015, 2016, they raised $15 million from licenses to go fishing. Just to pay for the compliance people that drive around on the boats to smash you, and the online system to actually jump on there and pay for your fishing license, that costs almost 52%, almost, or I think it's 48% actually. We'll go with 4. I think it's close to 48%. So you'd basically say 50% of the money raised just goes to compliance and the online IT system and the people that are employed before you even start considering about giving back to the fishing industry. So $7.5 million out of $15 million gone before you even consider money going back into restocking programs and fisheries and artificial reefs and things like that. I mean, just to pay for the bureaucracy. I mean, again, is fishing any better now than it was when I was growing up fishing with my old man? No, it's not any better at all. Probably worse.
And does it go back into the fishing industry, the other 50%?
Well, it probably goes into just general revenue. Ryan says, since John Howard, we haven't really had a centre-right party. Jesus, the Labor Party was more fiscally responsible in the last budget than the Liberals. It's bullcrap. Well, yeah. I mean, Rusty says he's going to go live on the ocean. He's going to probably be like, which I thought was a great movie. It was a box office flop. What was it called? Waterworld with Kevin Costner. I thought Waterworld was a bloody great movie, man.
I don't mind it at all.
Wasn't bad. Neil Constantine, welcome, Neil. He said we're on late tonight. Yeah, exactly. Mr. Wonderful, Ryan, he's talking to Ryan. Labor gave France $1 billion because we just hurt their feelings over the cancelled sub deal. Exactly. Australia's not a sovereign country anymore. Too busy trying to kowtow to other countries. You know, I would rule very much like Donald Trump, mate. We're looking after Australians. We're looking after our veterans. We're going to have competition between states. We're going to bring jobs back into the country. There's going to be tax breaks for the more people you hire, the more tax breaks you're going to get, mate. I'd have the best. Mate, you would want to live in my state. I'd be better than Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, I agree. My state would be good as well, but. Number one problem in this country is unions. Got to get rid of the filthy unions. Get them out of here. This is why manufacturing's gone overseas, because the manufacturing unions. You got to get rid of them. I've been in construction for 32 years now, and the bane of the existence and the money wasting is the unions, the licensing, everything, the compliance. It's just killing it. Once you get rid of the unions, we can rebuild Australia.
Well,
you do not want the unions getting their grubby hands. That just equals more money, and it's just ridiculous. I met a couple who used to work for Holden and they loved it. They're on like $150,000 for putting 4 bolts into a door at Holden, and they
Yeah.
got a monster payout when they finally collapsed. The manufacturing here, we don't make any cars here now. They're all
Yeah.
imported.
JVP91, interesting one, says in the paper this morning they want LAFOs to undergo yearly mental health assessments to retain their license. Yeah, I know. I'm sure you'd agree with me, JV. I wouldn't support that at all, because then you get basically bureaucrats telling you whether you can have a gun license or not. It's just, again, open to abuse. And again, if somebody's
They don't like you as a person.
yeah,
Nothing wrong with you. If they just
yeah.
don't like you for some reason, that's it.
Yeah,
They've ruined your sport.
exactly. That's it. And then what are you gonna? How do you fight? I wouldn't. Yeah, no good. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. Um,
Yeah.
and
You can,
again, that's not going to solve the issue. Yeah, again, these guys. What's the point of a gun? And again, if these guys were unlicensed, let's say one of them even was licensed. Again, we've seen this before. I mean, again, I hate to say it, and it happens in very rare circumstances, right? But sometimes law-abiding firearms owners are not privy to not doing the wrong thing. We saw that down in Lockhart, down near Wagga Wagga in New South Wales. The guy killed his whole family. There was one in Victoria. Who remembers the one a couple of years ago in Victoria, the neighbourhood dispute? And he shot the husband and the wife. All registered. In the very rare situation that happens, that's tragedy. So, I mean, let me get this straight. Sometimes, which is mostly criminals, probably well into the 99% would be criminals, probably more than that. 99 doesn't stop criminals doing the wrong thing, right? Because they can get guns illegally. And in the very rare instance that someone with a license does something wrong, which is very rare, the laws don't stop them doing the wrong thing either. If people are going to do something wrong, they're going to do something wrong. It's just, there's nothing you can do to stop that, unfortunately. It's just human nature. And if they don't have a firearm, they'll use some other means. It sucks, but that's human nature. If we were just robots, well, we probably wouldn't do that. People wouldn't do that, but we're not robots. We've got feelings
Well, look at the lady up in Kingsway who stabbed all her kids to death. And
Cairns, 8 of them.
Yeah, and she was just put in a loony bin for a while. And I got a funny feeling, I could be wrong, that she was let out not long ago. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll do our research on that. But yeah, I think there was either 6 or 8 kids. It might have been 6.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly, but there was a lot of kids, put it that way. And just heinous, man, heinous. And people, how can you stop that? You get banned scissors or banned knives? I mean, come on, we've got to get serious.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people in the comments do not like the unions, which is good to see.
It was Ben said, "What the hell's wrong with wood heaters?" Nothing, man, nothing at all. They just, the smoke in the air.
Yeah.
Remember, guys, if you pay more taxes, the weather will be better. Apparently, so you just got to pay more taxes, then we can control the weather. Dumb.
They want to get rid of wood heating because you're not plugging into the wall a heater and making money for the tax.
Yeah. Tank Meister said they banned fireworks in the 80s in Queensland. Mr. Wonderful, there's a plan for zero emissions. That means no petrol or diesel engines. Mate, I don't know. I used to have one guy that used to, he seemed like a nice guy. He was a Patreon supporter for the podcast many years ago, and he ended up quitting because I drove past the big windmills heading down south from Sydney down to when I was going hunting, and I said, I posted a picture of the big wind turbines, and I said, I love global warming. And he lives in Canberra, so it's the cesspool of labour in Canberra. And he goes, I don't like what you said, so I don't want to support someone like that, but I love firearms. And I said, dude, you just sound stupid, you just sound stupid. You can't be in the firearms industry. You can, I guess you could be in the firearms industry, but you'll be the end of us all with attitudes, and you're probably not going to fit in with those sort of things. Yeah, can we do better? Can we pollute less? Yeah, of course, but I mean, is it as bad as they're saying it is? Like the whole world's just going to crumble tomorrow? I mean, we've got to get serious, man.
It's just like all this crap about bringing in electric vehicles. There is not, and they've pointed it out, and none of these greenies want to admit to it, there is not enough minerals on this planet to physically make the batteries for all these electric vehicles. It does not exist. We cannot go all electric because we do not have the resources on this planet to be able to make all the batteries. It's just pure science.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, I do want to thank Kat for the super chat. Very much appreciate it, Kat. Being only a few kilometres away, I am so grateful to police for keeping my family safe. This poor neighbour was a top bloke and was just doing what we all do out here, checking on the neighbours. Kay
Yeah.
Trundle. Yep,
Yeah.
couldn't agree more.
And don't forget,
Yep,
Aaron said we'll deport the vegans, the climate change nuts, and the gun control loons. Well, like I said, if I was running the state, you'd all want to be moving to my state for sure. We'd bring the businesses back. We'd bring the guns back. We'd bring the crackers back. We'd bring it all back. We'd bring it all back. You'd love living here, man. You'd get jobs. You'd be loving it. You'd be loving my state.
I would be also abolishing the unemployment benefit. That'll be it. There'll be no.
Well, I don't know if
There'll
you're going
be.
to be elected. You might
There'll
be a
be.
bit
There'll be.
tougher.
There'll be no career dole bludgers. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's different than banning the unemployment. That's a little bit different than what you just said. But anyway.
Well, basically 95% will be gone.
Southern Star Review said he's finally home from work. How you all doing? Good. Southern Steve, aka Southern Star Review. Check his channel out. He's a good bloke.
Yep, definitely.
What else we got here? If they found they were, this is from Mitch, if they found they were licensed, we should be talking about weapons licensing competence. The police shouldn't be in charge of licensing. Well, yeah, that's what they're pushing in New Zealand, for the whole process to be taken away from the police and make it independent. Yeah, I agree. I think it needs to be from people that are independent.
Yeah, not biased in any way, and should be totally. It should be a bunch of boxes you got to tick, and there's no questions asked. That's the end of it. Yeah. So I don't believe in licensing at all. I don't think we should have licenses. It should be a right to own a firearm. You shouldn't be treated as a criminal in waiting. You should be maybe pass a test, do a proper safety test, not this crap you turn up and they tell you the answers. Do a proper test, a bit of a competency test. If you pass that, yep, you can go buy your firearm. Get rid of PTAs. There's no point. What's the point of jumping through the hoops to get a license? And then on top of that, ask permission to buy a gun once you've been okayed to own a firearm.
That's the thing. These criminals, what happened the other day too. They didn't ask for permission. They just went and did it. But Matt Cato said he's going to a new property this weekend. It's stacked with deer. Hopefully, come home with a carload of meat. Well, mate, send some up my way, good sir. Tankmeister said wood heaters equals no taxes.
Yep, not paying power bills.
Exactly.
Ryan, in London, knife crime is through the roof. Pistols are banned in UK. Like you said, if you take away guns completely, people will find other ways to get the job done if they set their mind to it. Exactly, 100%.
This is a good one too, Rusty.
Canada's got to find that out as well.
I think so. Yeah, maybe it's real cold over there too. They'll go out and the old ladies will be freezing, man. They'll die and they'll be going, "Oh shit, this is a PR disaster." Rusty said more COT because more forest for hunting. Navinator, they're trying to ban wood heaters here in Victoria. Wouldn't surprise me. ADV Mark said use a diesel heater. It's still way cheaper than electric heating. Well, I actually use one of those when I go hunting. I've got like a sort of teepee tent, one of the Southern Cross, is it? I think they're down in Victoria. But I use my little diesel heater and I plug it into the back of my car and, mate, just for like an hour or two before bed when I get changed, sometimes I'll crank it up in the morning for an hour before I get up and then get changed, and just takes that, especially when you're in like -3, -4 conditions, man. Get a diesel heater. I love those things, man, especially if you've got a secondary battery system or even a camper or you've got a small caravan that you take hunting. Get a diesel heater, guys. You will not go back. I love that thing.
Here's Salty Skippy, coal-powered cars. Well, coal-powered cars are electric cars because they've got to run it. You've got to plug them in. They're all coal-powered here. We should be going nuclear in Australia, widespread nuclear power to bring our power bills down and get rid of the coal 100%. But we've got to have nuclear power to do that. And the whole fast is, I think, okay, if you want to buy one of these battery-powered cars, not a problem. But you have to charge it in a fully reusable way. You can only charge by wind or solar.
No, man, they use coal-fired power to charge their car. How dumb is it, eh? How dumb is it?
Yeah, that's it. It should be done with should be done with wind power or solar power or wave power when they can make their power to the waves, which is a big flop anyway because I tried that over here. Otherwise, you can't have an electric car. At the end of the day, people who drive battery-powered cars are just absolute hypocrites, bowing down to the Greens, taking the knee to the Greenies, absolutely brainless and embarrassing. I'd be fucking embarrassed to drive around an electric car anyway.
Listen, as much as we say that probably won't happen in our lifetime, but it's inevitable, man. It's inevitable. We all know it's inevitable. I hate to say that, but it's probably inevitable. But people have made some, we're not going to go into the climate change thing. It's a totally different subject, unrelated. But yeah, I mean, we need cheap, affordable energy. Nuclear power, probably the way to go. Hey, if they can come up with something that's got no byproduct to generate power, well, then great, then great. But, we don't really have that. I mean, if they can create a solar panel that's about this big and that power, or like the size of a computer, and can power a whole city, that'd be awesome. But we wouldn't. I don't think we're there yet. We're not even remotely there yet.
All the nuclear power waste, all the byproduct, the rods and everything, for every nuclear power plant, or the waste of nuclear energy ever in existence on this planet can fit, every single bit will fit onto a football field. That's how little waste there truly is.
Yeah. Well, there we go. There's Looking Over Hell. He's joined. We mentioned him a bit earlier. Looking Over Hell. That's another one. What happened to Front Toward Enemy? We haven't seen Front Toward Enemy back as well for a while. He must have left us in the lurch. What are we
exactly.
Do? Exactly. What else we got here? I'm just looking at is Queensland will stop firearms license issue? Well, geez, I hope not for Queensland people, man. Again, when are they going to get some of the politicians that have got some guts and say, nah, this is not the law abiding? Mate, sometimes tragedies happen. This is real life. This is what happens. I mean, it sucks that it happens, but people are human, man. At the end of the day, people have, in this situation, they probably didn't have any brains, but people have emotions and that they can't control them. And it's bad, but you're never gonna, unless we turn it like that movie, which I thought was a great movie, Equilibrium. Remember Equilibrium with Christian Bale, where they make you take pills so you don't have any emotions whatsoever. Well, then okay, but I mean, I don't think people, people in Victoria might subscribe to that because they love, being told what to do. Obviously, not Matt Cato and our buddies in Victoria. We're not talking about you guys because you guys are cool, but I wouldn't surprise me.
Victorians around here aren't like your normal Victorians.
No. Yeah, exactly. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's called Equilibrium, mate. It was a bit of a box office flop, but man, I reckon it's a great movie, to be honest.
I love it. Yeah. Gun martial arts. It's like but it was actually out before Matrix. That sort of at the same time as Matrix, I think.
Hang on,
right on
We've
that.
got a good one here. Jacker 1. Now he needs to clarify this. No, this is a different one. Right. First off, he said, do not remove the PTA system, which is the permit to acquire. Otherwise, you'll end up like WA. Let me just process then. Well, don't they already have a... Well, they don't have a PTA system, do they? They've got to pay for like a safety certificate, don't they? And basically WA is really expensive. Yeah. Well, this is what's coming to all states because, again, this is not getting any cheaper. You've got inventory, insurances, businesses, stationery, wages, superannuation, all things that cost to run a bureaucracy to manage firearms owners, which is just a complete black hole and a complete waste of money. So I'm not sure what you mean by that. Let us know in the comments.
WA is the worst owner gun. The worst. I think it's like $150 a year per gun. You got to get a safety certificate. For Christ's sake, it's really ridiculous.
Yeah. Mr. Wonderful said he misses the smell of his grandparents' old Kero heater. I don't know. I've never seen one. What do they do? Are they good for your health? Rusty says he's got a diesel heater in his boat. Well done, Rusty. You for very cheap insurance to have a good night's sleep and keep warm.
Yeah, William. PTA makes no sense. Why should I need to ask for the rifle, pistol, or shotgun that I want to buy if I have a license? 100%. Why should you like? It's like owning a car and you have a driver's license, then asking permission to buy a car and asking for permission to go and drive on the road.
Yeah. Tank Mice said George Sprav. George, the guy that makes all those funny little pool guns and arrows and all that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
stuff. And George Spravikas did a good job on arms crossing the border. You must mean a video. Literally thousands of people own unregistered firearms. Yeah, well, we don't. I remember when I was doing the
He's in
podcast
Germany.
back in the day. Yeah, people were every year. We used to get the statistics. There were more and more guns being taken off the hands of criminals each year in New South Wales, for an example. And then they'd be saying, "Oh, well, this is fantastic. We're getting more guns off the street." And I said, "Yeah, but hang on a minute. It's increasing. Shouldn't it be decreasing the amount of guns you're finding on people if you're taking this many out of the hands of people? Why every year does the guns you're finding in the hands of criminals keep going up? Where's society going? Again, as much as Aaron said, this all goes back to the weak John Howard days when the country, he didn't have any leadership. He literally had no actual leadership style. All he wanted to do was save money. Anyway. That's a whole different kettle of fish.
And in his own firearms agenda. And he came out and said, the reason I banned firearms is because I don't like them. Only the police and security should have firearms. That's why I banned them.
Yeah. Who'd you ban?
Now, that's what John Howard said.
I thought you said you banned someone. Sorry, I misheard.
No. No, we haven't had that filthy troll on for a few weeks now, which is good.
DK Duckman said 4 cops attended the site. Obviously, the issue we're talking about tonight met with lethal overreaction. Does not look right. Yeah, well, I mean, unless they already knew, as some people have said before, did the cops already go there? We don't know any of these details. Obviously, we don't want to say things that aren't true. So
it'd be interesting to know if they were wanted, known to the police for anything, if they were known to be bad bastards or druggos or manufacturing or any of that sort of stuff. I wonder if they were actually known to police. And if they were, why did they send young rookies in jumping over the fence to the front door if they did know that these people were scummy elements of society? Why would if they were known and they were sent in by the superiors, that's not a good look.
William said he's talking to Ben. He said, "No, the PTA system isn't that bad. Well, it's not great, but I haven't waited any longer than 5 days, which is great compared to a lot." Well, listen, if we are going to have something like that, I don't agree. But if we are going to have something like that, I don't know why all states don't just adopt it straight to the gun dealer. You go into the shop, the gun dealer organises the paperwork. If you have to pay a fee, well, okay. I don't agree with it, but it is what it is. And they do it all on the spot for you. That sounds like really the ultimate scenario to me. I mean, I guess the whole scenario sucks that we've got to go through this, but I'm saying in general, that's the way it should be. You go to the shop, hey, mate, yeah, here's my license. He checks on the system. He goes, yep, John Smith, he's got a gun license. Yeah, mate, I want that deer hunting rifle. Yep, mate, all good. Gets it off the shelf, puts it in, organizes it all, and then you get the registration paper in the mail a couple of weeks later after you've purchased it. I mean, again, if you've got a long history of,
and they're making you wait. Well, I was on the phone when I bought a shotgun years ago, and they sent through an email saying it's all been good, your PTA has been approved. I phoned them up and they said, yeah, it was approved like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't seen anything. What's going on? No, that was a computer glitch. Everyone got that who put a PTA in. I said, oh, okay, all good. Well, we just started talking about calibers as back in the day of banning the 338 Lapua. Thank goodness that's all over. And so we're just talking about that for a couple of minutes, and she goes, "Oh yeah, your PTA is all done." I said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, it only takes like 30 or 40 seconds to a minute to do a PTA. All we check is that your license for that firearm and you haven't committed any crime in the last week or so. And that's it. It's done. It's not fast." I said, "Well," I said to her, "Why does it take so long sometimes to get a PTA?" "Oh, just to hold you up." So we don't understand why John Howard's gun laws haven't worked. They're meant to discourage people, not people aren't meant to be buying more guns. These are set up to the laws are there to discourage you, and we hold you up so you can so you just give up. I said, well, all the hoops we jump through, we're not going to give up because you're just trying to hold us up for longer and longer. Why is we still seeing reports people taking 12 weeks to get a PTA, for God's sake? Why?
Who knows, man? Who knows? I mean, yeah, the whole thing's a farce. But anyway,
Yeah,
he said the
exactly.
lady shooter was a principal. Is that the lady, the
No,
wife of?
the missing persons guy. He used to be a
Oh, okay.
principal at a school down
Yeah,
in New South Wales, and he is actually was in contact with Mark Latham. Sent
yeah,
lots of emails and correspondence to Mark Latham
yeah.
about the state of teaching in New South Wales. He wasn't happy with the way the teaching was going in New South Wales.
Vince is a good one. I'll answer this one. He said, "Any chance to? I know it hasn't been too long, but any chance of the podcast coming back in the near to medium future?" I don't know, man. I mean, it's a tough one at the moment, man. I've just been enjoying out hunting, shooting, making a few videos, not being stressed out. Aaron knows how I feel about some of this stuff. I just think the industry is going in the wrong way. There's no real support for you know podcasters or video makers or hey, we'd all love to do this full time, man, but it's just not realistic, man. It does take up a lot of time, and
Yeah,
I've been doing it for over a decade, man, and I'm just not seeing any changes, man, to warrant continuing, man. To be brutally honest with you, in
yeah.
March of next year, it'll be a year since I've done one, so I don't know, man. Maybe I don't know yet, man. I'd have to see some serious changes in this industry. But, mate, from what I'm hearing from people that I still talk to in the industry and people involved in organizations and small ones, large ones, doesn't matter what they are, who they are, the fights that are going on, the issues. I just think things are going to get much worse for shooters, man. And we're
Mm.
not seeing anything from the importers. We're not seeing anything from,
Or
you know,
any organisation.
yeah,
We're just getting
just not seeing anything,
promises,
man.
and
It's
we're
getting
just getting
worse.
broken promises, and people just there's all from organisations and the industry just we're going to help, but I don't see any of that crap happening.
I think I just need a break, man. I guess, you do get a bit burnt out, man, after 12 years. And, when you've been slugging your guts out for that long, doing almost, over, 200 plus 50 shows or something over that time, the preparation. But anyway, we'll see, man. Hey, never say never, man. I'm just
Yeah.
enjoying going shooting at the moment, going a bit of fishing, man. You never know. Maybe middle of next year, we'll see. Don't
The
quote me on
fu-
it though.
the funniest thing I saw was some numbnut online complaining about us, carrying on saying,
Oh,
"Oh, I really I really these guys
what they say.
just doing the live stream. I really miss. They should be doing more gun reviews and everything and gun videos for us.
Yeah.
That's what they need to be getting up there and doing. And yet you see them on other pages and the same dude bagging us out just about absolute nothing and lies that other people are saying about us, like happened not long ago. And he's on there and saying, "Oh yeah, they just bagging us out," and in the same breath saying, "Oh, I really wish I'd just get back to making gun reviews." Well, I've explained this several times. To do a gun review takes me an entire weekend to film, entire weekend to edit. The last review I put up, I got paid by YouTube 7.5 cents. So why would I give up an entire
You're
weekend
raking
for
it in,
seven and a
man.
half
You're raking it in.
for
You're
seven and a
raking it
half
in.
cents? Gave up all my time. I might as well just go to work. I go to work for a week and I make more money than I ever have out of making any gun reviews. And people go, "It's not about the money." I'm sorry. Yes, it is. I've got a full-time job. I work 60 hours a week. So this is a bit on the side. It would be nice to make a bit of money out of
Hey,
what I've been doing for
let me
10
say
years.
one thing in your defense too. I've been up there when we had to make a couple of videos, man. It takes hours, man. Even I got the shits with it because I was, enjoyed being part of those videos. But yeah, it does take a long time. People don't realize what goes. Unless you've made YouTube videos to a certain standard, you don't know what's involved. I mean, even podcasting, ringing people, getting people, calling them, finding guests, searching social media for people of interest that might be of interest. There's a lot that goes into it that all people see is that 15-minute video or that 1 hour podcast. They don't see what goes into it. I mean, this is just us talking on the internet for an hour. We do a bit of research and Bob's your uncle. We can start talking about it. Like it's not rocket science stuff that we have to do. So
No, exactly.
anyway,
And
the
and yeah,
old what was his name again? He Vincent stirred us up a little bit.
No, it's all good.
No, just with the question. Me and Aaron have been talking about this a lot. I mean, we'd have to see some major changes, man, to warrant going back to that, man. We're just happy doing this every so often. Yeah, I just saw someone post, should be a bit more regular. But, at the end of the day, do you really want to see our ugly faces on screen every single week? I mean.
Yeah, there's our good friend out at Acme Firearms. It's a thankless task, fellas. It is, 100%. Then you have people out there who you've known for ages that turn around and make lies and backstab you for their own agenda. It's just unbelievable. And
that's one thing you learn. One thing you do learn if anyone's going to get into YouTubing or podcasting, you just got to get if you don't have a thick skin, just don't do it, because you'll end up, it just weighs on your mind. Everyone starts off with good intentions, and we all do, and then it's hard to not let criticism get to you sometimes. But then if you've got a thick skin after a while, I don't care what people post about me. I don't really care. I'm out hunting, having a good time, and I've made one thing with me and Aaron, I guess we're happy with. I mean, obviously we're friends and that, but the amount of good people that we've met through the shooting industry. Yeah, don't get me wrong, there's some absolute bastards too, but the good people far outweigh the bad. And you've made lifelong friendships with a lot of these people, and you've been hunting with them, you've been shooting with them. That's really one of the positives that I've taken out of it. So,
here's something recently happened that Jason laughed about. We had some filthy trolls just write up lies and lies and lies about us continuously, and just kept dogpiling us. We just couldn't care. We just thought it was absolutely hilarious. These unhinged people ranting and raving about us, and just literally making up crap about us, and thinking post after post. And it's like, this is hilarious. These people are unhinged. The way they speak are completely unhinged. And we're just, every day, Jason, we were talking, just pissing ourselves with laughter at these people. They're doing this thinking this upsets us, but we're just having the time of our lives reading this crap. It's absolutely hilarious. And that's the sort of stuff you gotta
go shooting.
Expect. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. You just got to laugh, man. I mean, like I always say, when you do more than somebody else, there'll always be someone around to criticize. So it's just human nature. You just got to accept that. I've even seen the nicest people you've ever met, whether they're YouTubers or podcasters, and I've met a lot of them. And I've met some of these people, and I think, man, this guy's just a top bloke, a really good bloke, or a good woman, or whatever they are. And there's nothing to pick on them for. I know me and Aaron can be a bit controversial at times, obviously, saying certain things, but, these people are just the regular run-of-the-mill. Even they've got haters. I go, how does this guy have a hater? He's the nicest bloke you'll ever meet. How's he got any haters? So people just hate on people for no reason sometimes. But anyway, getting back to the thing.
Just amazing how miserable some of these people are. Imagine being married to some of these miserable people just online bagging everyone out in the community. It's just sad. Sad people.
And I don't say it to get a rise out of people. If I've been critical, like I said with this SFP thing the other day, all I want is to see them to do well. And sometimes you got to move people on. If it's affecting the brand and it's affecting shooters like in New South Wales, time to go, time to get some new people in. Sometimes you got to know when to pull up stumps. It's just, but no. Listen, it's not I'm right. When I make these predictions, I knew this stuff was going to happen. It just took longer to play out than I originally planned. Like with the ScoMo, Daniel Andrews being re-elected. I hate being right, but it's just you just got to be realistic and say, this doesn't look good for the Conservatives, or like with Borzak moving on from the SFP. It's time to go. You just got to know when the time's up. Like, it's just get on with the business. That's what it's always been about for me. It's never been about I don't dislike or like these people. They're insignificant to me. All it is I just want those people to do the right thing for shooters and get the best outcome possible for shooters. All this infighting and stuff like that. I say things because I'm hoping they're going to change. But again, like I said, it was Vincent before. They're just not changing. In fact, things are just getting worse. So some of these organizations that have been around for a long time, just, not fighting for us, or ones that haven't been, whatever, doesn't matter who it is, it's just trying to get some results for shooters. That's what it's all about. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, I just don't see anything changing at all. The industry, no one stands up for us.
My mate Carmelo said, "Bring back the podcast. I'll sponsor you." I'll tell you, if it's my mate Carmelo, I'll tell you what, he makes some. He's in the what do I want to say here? He's in the pasta making arena, amongst other things, pasta and so forth, and different types of that sort of thing, mate. Oh, he makes some good shit, man. I tell you, and mate, he's very successful because he's got a great product. So good on you, Carmelo. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I love me pasta. My favorite foods. Yeah, so the whole YouTube game and social media game's a bit of a laugh.
And, and also, too, and people say, like William said, I'd be happy to pay a monthly fee. Mate, it's not about the money. People say, we're all about the money. I laugh at that, man. You think, but we've all got full-time jobs. All the people in the chat have got full-time jobs. You don't make money from this. You make a few bucks on the side just to make it worthwhile. That's it. It's, hey, if I was earning $6,000 a month or something, mate, you'd be getting a podcast every day because I could quit my job. But it's just not realistic. You do it for the love of it. A lot of these people, even the new people that have come on, they do it because they enjoy it. They want to contribute. If they make a few bucks on the side to cover their costs, to go to shows and do videos and update camera gear and stuff like that, it's a win-win for everybody. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people come, including me, I guess, and a lot of people go because it's just, you've got to start seeing, either, and for me, it was seeing changes in the industry. That's what it was for me. Not about money, just seeing changes within the industry, getting a good result for shooters. That's what I want to see. And, we're just not seeing that at the moment, unfortunately.
And getting back to you say about people, people always go, the dim-witted people always go on about they're doing it for the money. Well, if I was doing it for the money, every 2 months, every 2 months out of YouTube for the last 6 months, I've made grand total every 8 weeks $54. That's all I've made.
I know this is a good one too. Funas said by the time
I make more money than that for having my morning cup of coffee. So
Funas said by the time you filmed the review, Trudeau, meaning Trudeau, would have already banned the firearm you're actually reviewing. That's a good one. I like it. I like it.
And knocking on your door, wanting to know where that gun is.
Hey, and Salty Skippy brings up a very good point here too. He said that's because YouTube bans guys. Yeah, I mean, Aaron's doing the thing, building and mowing. That some of the stuff we do now part time for just a bit of fun. You don't have any issues with YouTube. They're not trying to ban you. Hey, I made a video. I spent a hunting video where I went hunting deer. If you haven't seen it, you can go to AHP Outdoors, the YouTube channel. Mate, within a day, it had 5,500 views or something, a day and a half, which is fantastic for me normally. They gave me a strike because, it was shocking content. I'm like, this doesn't even cover your basic issues here that you're trying to say I'm doing. As soon as they put it on their limited ad list, it fell off a cliff, and it's had 200 views in about 4 weeks now from the initial 1.5 days. So again, you're always fighting YouTube. You're always fighting the establishment. Just, obviously you're not making any money off these videos, but if you can make $50, $100 off a video, well, so be it. Like I spend 20 hours editing those types of videos, and just for the bastards to, give me not a strike, but they've limited my ads on there because apparently it was too shocking shooting a deer and taking it home for meat. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. Yeah, anyway.
Exactly. And
Navinator says, you guys do a great job. Ignore the haters. It's shooters who ignore politics, which I can't stand. Yeah, there is a lot of out there still voting for Labor and Liberal. We saw that during the election.
Yeah, another thing I was going to say, the funniest thing we laugh about is that that filthy troll again carrying on saying, no one will ever want to watch our other channels, our lawn mowing channels and my building channel. No one will ever want to watch those. They're pathetic. Yeah, you go look at their channel. I've had something like 5 subscribers in the last 8 weeks.
Anyway, Mr. Wonderful said you learn more from these streams than any gun review. Yeah, maybe. I mean, hopefully we spread some information. I mean, we just read what's out there on the internet. There's no need to lie about. We make some predictions and some, might have been pretty spot on to be fair. But I was hoping the Daniel Andrews one wasn't going to be. I was hoping to be proven wrong on that one, but Unfortunately, it wasn't to be, and I was right. But anyway,
Deal H. $54. That's a lot of money. That's not
yeah.
even a carton of beer anymore. Can't even buy a carton of beer at Christmas time with that $54. And I've got to pay.
We got to give Mr. Wonderful a shout. He said, "I love these streams, even though the hosts pay out on me occasionally, mate. We're not paying.
Yeah.
We don't pay out on you. You know, we're just all I'm saying is, listen. A lot of things I've said on the podcast, and listen, I don't want to sound like a complete asshole here because I don't want to, because Mr. Wonderful is a very valued member of this thing. But I'm just saying, all I'm asking is that sometimes." I remember years ago. I'll tell you who this guy. I'm going to give him a call in a couple of days. I've got to say. Me and another guy did a podcast with him just recently. Steve Lee. You might remember Steve Lee from I Like Guns. Terrific fellow. He had issues. He lost his license. He got it back recently. I've got to give him a call because I haven't spoken to him for a while. Really nice guy, Steve Lee. Can't speak any more highly of him. Really top bloke. Doesn't like the gun, yeah, etc. Anyway, so we had a bet one time on whether Mark Latham during the last election was going to get in. So about 4 years ago, and he goes, "I put $1,000 on it." I go, "Mate, I don't want to take $1,000 off you. Let's just make it $100." You know, and he goes, "Mate," he goes, "Yeah." So he's having a bit of a laugh with me, and he said, "Oh, you know, you've never been a bit on the political side, as in a bit of an amateur, you might say. He's got no chance of being elected." The gates are closed on voting in 2018 at 5:30. He was paying me out by 7 p.m. I got the message. "What's your bank details? I'm sending you the money." Not only did Mark Latham get elected, a second One Nation person got elected. And I said, so who's the political amateur now? When you think, you know, I was adamant Mark Latham was going to get in. Adamant. And anyway, I'm $100 richer. So God bless Steve Lee. Really nice guy. He got that one wrong, unfortunately, though, too. But anyway, so all I'm saying is when I say something, I'm not trying to do it to be, you know, obtuse, or I'm not trying to do it to upset people. I'm just saying what I think. And a lot of the time I'm pretty well spot on the money. And that's been proven in a lot of the things I've said. Most of them have come true. I was saying 7 years ago about the SFP stuff and these guys having to go. It's now 2022 and they're losing members in their lower house hand over fist. And then everyone's calling for these people to stand down now. So anyway, it goes back as far as 7 to 10 years. My calls are coming true. So anyway, it is what it is, I guess. I don't like to be. I wish it wasn't the case, but
you are the politics, man.
I think it was William said Jason for MP, and it was like, no, man, I couldn't do it. I couldn't handle not having any power and not getting my way sometimes. So.
People are getting some good comments about what I can get for my $54. It's not a month. That was 2 months. $54 every 2 months. So basically half of that I've been getting. So people going, Adam, that's nearly a carton a month.
Yeah, but hey, and when you spend 2 full days doing a review and then editing and that sort of thing, $54, I'd rather have my weekend, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Benny, $54 will maybe pay half your annual license in WA. William, $54 might get you 200 rounds of CCI standards, maybe. So it's $54. 700 ml of Bundy. Yeah, pretty much. Thank you, Albanese, for raising alcohol prices by 30%.
Yeah,
like scummy.
And Rusty's right. He said more people need to voice their opinions, and too many just cop it. Exactly. I mean, most people don't want to say anything. I mean, we're not. So long as people do it friendly and with respect. I mean, you know, Mr. Wonderful sometimes disagrees with what we say, you know, which is totally fine. We welcome people with different views. I mean, that's what this is all about, really, isn't it? I'm not always right, you know, not always, you know, but that's what makes this a healthy discussion amongst people. You don't want to have an echo chamber, and it's good to have, you know, different forms of opinions on different issues, whether it's politics, whether it's the way forward on firearms reform, whether it's you know, things on licensing, permits to acquires. This is what makes it a fun live stream, man. To you know, I mean, sometimes we've not Mr. Wonderful. We've had people on the stream where I'm still sitting there saying I can't believe some of these people just don't get it, you know. But we keep saying it, but it's not sinking into some people.
Some of the conversations we have the day after is quite interesting.
But you know, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we all want what's best for shooters in the industry. We all want a better deal, and that's what most people want, I guess. That's what I want anyway. It's never, been about clout, money. I mean, fuck, if it was about the money, man, I would have gone bankrupt a long time ago, man. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
See, Bravo said, thank you for the $5 super chat, and thank you for everyone who's put the super chats up tonight.
Hey, listen, you can actually get a good beer now because you got that extra $5 now. So if you get 54, you've now got 60. You can buy VBs or whatever now because you got $60.
Still can't buy me a bottle of Jack.
No, not yet.
If you were broke and starving, the government would still fine you for fishing without a license, 100%. How dare you feed your family without giving us a cut? This is what I've said for years, Jason, and you know that. They don't want us hunting. If you're hunting and harvesting your own food, even growing vegetables, they don't want you doing it. They want you to go to the supermarket, buy the stuff they sell, and pay the tax on it. They do not want you harvesting your own meat. But if I shoot a deer and harvest a deer, that meat, because I live alone, would last me almost a year.
Yeah. We'll finish off soon, but William said, what's the best way to get non-shooters into the sport? Everyone says go to the range with a 22, but the problem is if you have an old mate with a 300 WSM next to you, I don't have access to a lot of land. Yeah, no, it is. This, this is about, sometimes living in a city is also not very conducive to having, enjoying your firearms a lot because you've often got to travel a long way. I'm like that in Sydney. I'd love to get out of here one day. But it's also not practical for a lot of people because of jobs, family, things like that. But again, it all comes down to how important is it for you in your life to enjoy your sport? Because don't forget, I'm 42 next. I'm 42 next year. Aaron's a bit older than me. I mean, again, how many good years do we actually have left before you're going to be struggling to get out, before your arms are stuffed, your knees are stuffed, or you've got health problems, or anything over 60 pretty much is a godsend to try and get out hunting. I mean, so we're on borrowed time, guys. That's all I'm saying. Get out there and do what you can now. Spend your weekends hunting and shooting. Don't say I'm going to leave it to retirement and spend more time then, because no guarantee any of us are even going to be around then. So it's a start, especially what's happened, the topic tonight. It's a stark contrast. Our lives can be over at any moment. So for whatever means, some idiot with a gun, bloody car crash, health issues, whatever it may be, get out there and enjoy yourself, because that's the main thing.
Yeah. Adam, guys, I was just joking. We know that, Adam, it's all good. On a side note, we can't own a still in Queensland. I think you can own a still. You can buy a still and make spirits as long as you're not selling it. I think. As long as you're not selling it and you don't make a batch over a certain amount of liters. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Even then, now they want to ban us the alcohol now. What's next, man? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's because you're not going to the shop and paying 30% extra.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll finish off with. Sorry, go on. Go.
Oh, you go look at the prices overseas. When I flew over to New Zealand, it was over 10 years ago, to do a big job, big contract over there for work. And a guy was a mad VB. He would only ever drink VB. We got there and he was freaking out. Oh, VB will be so expensive over here in New Zealand. Went to the bottle shop. He could buy a carton of VB in Wellington in New Zealand cheaper than he could in Australia. And it was it came from Victoria.
Yeah. Yeah, did you read that one from that Adam Basham? He said, guys, just joking. We appreciate the podcast. We want some money. I was going to say, we're going to have I'm not sure if you mentioned that. I thought you did. I wasn't just making sure. We're probably going to do a Christmas special before Christmas as well, because I might be away for a week or so. We get a bit over Christmas. I'm sure, people are going to be away as well. So January is probably going to be a bit of a write-off. So we'll probably do a Christmas special.
The next one will be our annual Christmas special, which we normally stay on as long as we can and have a few drinks and a good laugh for as long as we can possibly stay awake. And then last year's one went for over 3 hours, I think it was.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we'll go that long, but we'll see how we go. Rusty said,
actually, I'm on holiday, so it's okay. We can do it any night.
Yeah, Rusty said, that's it, I'm stuffed, and he's only 58. Yeah, exactly. Ticker 300 WM. This government doesn't want us to have anything at all or to enjoy. Exactly, man. Everything's banned. We're not surprised. Rusty, Damien said, Rusty, he goes, shit, I'm 62. Yeah, well, get out while you can, Damien. Get out there and enjoy your, all the things. William said, great stream, guys. Much appreciated. Have a great Christmas, New Year's. If you don't stream before then, well, we certainly will be.
We got one more in us before Christmas, and it's going to be a real good one. It won't be a topic. We'll just be talking about whatever you guys want to talk about.
We'll put the questions up and spend more time putting all your stuff up and getting questions.
Another thing I forgot to say is thank you to the sponsor tonight, Brown Plains Firearms. If you're in Brisbane, go and see Browns Plains Firearms. They are an awesome store down here in South Brisbane. Great prices, great guys. They are all about guns and hunting, so you're just not getting some young guy behind the desk who's there like a weekend sort of a job. They are actually really everyone works there is into their hunting, shooting, pistol shooting, a wealth of knowledge. Fantastic guys. They've been probably the best sponsor I've ever had. They've been stuck around with us for the beginning of time. Basically, it's 10, 11 years we've been doing this. They have stuck with us through thick and thin. I could not ask for a better sponsor. So please go and check them out. They are fantastic blokes.
I remember when I first went there, I've said it a couple of times now, but I first went with Aaron. He's like, oh, man, get in there. You come behind the counter and sit in the office. Mate, they don't care. They're good guys. So
yeah.
Always welcoming. Always welcoming.
So the link's in the description. Go and see them. I think they are going to, last time I talked to Gary, I'm actually going to go the end of this week, actually. They are going to set up a big website selling through the World Wide Web, which will be good.
Phil Wessling says, I wonder if they'll let us catch our own bugs. No, they'll be government-issued bugs, man.
There is no way I'm living in a pod and eating bugs. No way.
Imagine that. It's like the Matrix, man. Aaron's living on big creepy crawlies like crickets, and can you imagine it?
Way.
It'd be hilarious. Anyway, anyone else there? Neil said you can still buy a still, so you can distilled water, then accidentally put fruit into the outcome alcohol by mistake.
I actually knew a guy who used to make tea. Let's talk about a waste of taxpayers' money. I used to make tea tree oil in monster vats, right? Massive vats, like 10,000, 20,000 litre vats on a property. I think up by Bundaberg. And so every time they finished making a big batch of tea tree oil and bottle it and sell it and ship it out, the police would raid their property to make sure they weren't making. They could basically stock up Dan Murphy's on pure moonshine. But they never did. But the second they finished, the cops would be bashing the door down to see if they're making moonshine.
Carmelo makes a good one. He goes, the only bugs I eat are Balmain bugs. Yum.
The only bugs I like Moreton Bay bugs.
They're not as good. Are they as good as Balmain bugs? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Not too sure. Adam, dude, I can buy Bundy rum in New Zealand cheaper than Dan Murphy's on the coast. Unbelievable.
Crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll call it a night, man. I think we've gone way over time because Aaron's stupid internet never works, and he's got to. Guys, tell him in the comments. Let him know in the comments. Buy a new computer right now. Put it in the comments. Aaron, new computer now. Go. Put it in the comments.
I don't know what to buy. I'm not into computers. I've got no idea.
Well, that's for sure, man. Every time,
All righty, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been awesome. Been almost 2 hours, which has been double the length tonight. It's been fantastic talking to you. So what we will do is see you before Christmas for our yearly Christmas special. It'll be a great night. So thank you to Jason. Thank you to Browns Plains. And thank you to all of you guys for being here. So have a fantastic week, or a fantastic couple of weeks. Hope you get out shooting, and we shall talk to you very, very soon. Good night, and thank you very much.